Okay, so guys, thanks for joining today's session. Today is the eighth day of the training, and today's agenda is we are going to cover another SaaS adapter called Salesforce Adapter, which is one of the important adapter, and we use this very extensively in our organization. We will, in order to use the Salesforce Adapter, you must have the Salesforce instance. So I will show you how you can create a Salesforce instance free. Then after your Salesforce instance will be created, I will show you how to use the Salesforce adapter in order to build the Salesforce connection. In the Salesforce, we will look at how to create workflow rules and outbound messages in Salesforce in order to capture events from the Salesforce system. And then we will have a look two important patterns. One is publish to OIC, how to use publish to OIC pattern and subscribe to OIC pattern. And we will look at how to use JavaScript functions in integrations. Yesterday, we have covered the ATP adapter. We have seen how to create a ATP instance from Oracle Cloud Dashboard and how to use ATP adapter in the integration to perform various operations like insertion, deletion, upsert operation, how to fetch all the data, and how to get the data basis on the ID. So if you have any question, guys, you can ask before I start the session today. Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, then I will proceed further. And okay, guys, one more thing before I start this session, I would like to give you one useful information which will really help you to raise your queries on the integration forum, and you can take a help from integration experts and your query will be resolved immediately. So there's an integration forum, which is a Oracle Cloud community. I hope some of you might be knowing it. So integration forum. Okay, this is the, I will give you the URL. So you need to create your account there. Let me just show you this one. cloudcustomerconnect.oracle.com. So this is the Oracle Cloud Customer community. There are different forums like infrastructure forum. Under infrastructure, you have the integration forum. You have other forums like, hold on, like Visual Builder, Java, VPS. Totally depends on which forum you want to post your query. Like if you have a integration related questions, you can just click here and then post your question. So before you do this, you have to register yourself. You can click on the register, and then this is the criteria in order to create an account here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share this URL over the WhatsApp group. You guys can create your account there, and if you have any doubt, any question, you can keep asking your questions there. Okay, so I have just pasted that whole URL on the WhatsApp group. You can start creating your account and then keep posting your questions there. It's very helpful, and I also keep a lot of questions there, and I got an answer immediately. Okay, now before I start the Salesforce adapter, guys, I will show you how to create a Salesforce instance. So you can create your Salesforce instance by going there, developer.salesforce.com/signup. So you can create your account free. You don't need to enter your even credit card. You can enter your name, first name, last name, your email address. You can put your Gmail address too, the role, the company, it is not mandatory, the country, the postal code, and any valid username you can put there. Once you click on a sign me up, your account will be created and you will be able to log in into your Salesforce instance. In order to, this is how you can create a free account of Salesforce. Now, if you want to log in, so that will be a developer account. And now in order to log in into the Salesforce, you need to go there, login.salesforce.com. Here, whatever username you have provided while creating an account, you need to put it here. So I have one account with name taxupper underscore @taxupper.com and then the valid password. Once your credentials are correct, you will be landed onto the Salesforce page where you will see the setup page. This is how you can create the Salesforce account freely in 2 minutes.
So Ankur, anyone can create this account?
Yes, anyone can go ahead and then create it.
Okay.
And now in order to create a Salesforce connection, you go to the connections and click on a create button. And from here, you can search the Salesforce Adapter. And I hope you might be knowing Salesforce, what Salesforce is. Salesforce is one of the CRM application, which is one of the customer relationship management applications on the cloud, which is a very famous application wherein your organization maintains all the new opportunities, leads, contact, clients, and other stuff. So this is one of the famous application these days, and most of the organizations are using the Salesforce. So if your organization are using the Salesforce also, then you can interact with the Salesforce via the OIC, and you can use the inbuilt Salesforce connector. So the capabilities of the Salesforce adapter is you can capture the events from the Salesforce, which means you can use the Salesforce at the trigger point. The Salesforce adapter can also be used to call Salesforce system. You can make the SOQL query, which is called Salesforce Object Query Languages. Let's suppose you have one object in the Salesforce called opportunity, and you want to get few fields of the opportunity field, let's say ID, name, and then stage. You can make a query using that adapter called select ID, name, comma, stage from opportunity. It is just like your SQL queries you make. So using that adapter, you can use the SOQL queries. Plus, Salesforce has a lot of inbuilt objects, as well as you can create custom objects in the Salesforce. You can call any one of the Salesforce object via the Salesforce adapter. So this is the inbuilt functionality, and you can perform different operations, like you can create opportunity using the Salesforce adapter. You can delete it, you can update the opportunity, you can get the data as well. Plus, there are few important function of the Salesforce, like the bulk upload, like the email notification. So directly using that Salesforce adapter, you can directly use those functions which are exposed in the Salesforce adapter. So these are the few things. Okay, one more thing. The Salesforce, in the Salesforce, if you want to write your code, you can write in the Apex. And let's suppose there's some custom functionality which is built in the Salesforce. So Apex can provide you the SOAP WSDL, and you can directly consume that SOAP WSDL in the Salesforce adapter to call that WSDL. I will show you that one. So let's go ahead and then try to create the Salesforce adapter first of all. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide a name, let's say Salesforce connection. Role, I will choose trigger and invoke both and click on the create button. When you click on the create button, here you see you need to provide the salesforce.com instance type. So it will have 3 values, one as the production, sandbox, and then government. Production, if you are using the Salesforce production instance, you have to select the production. If it is the sandbox, select sandbox. If it is the government one, you can use the government. So when you are using your developer account, so you always use the production one. But yes, these values will be provided by the Salesforce team, whether it's the production or whether it's the sandbox. So I will use the production one. The domain, if you have the custom domain of your Salesforce account, then you have to provide the domain name of that Salesforce. But I don't have the custom one, so I will leave it as it is, optional. The Salesforce adapter works on the REST APIs actually. So behind this adapter, all the Salesforce APIs are there. So every Salesforce API have a different version. So whatever latest version you have of the Salesforce, you can use it. Means the API version. So I have the 50 version. So if you want to look at the Salesforce API version, you can simply go here, Salesforce API versions. Okay, so we have the 51 version as well. So there's a developer.salesforce.com guide which can tell you what all versions is there in the Salesforce APIs. List available REST APIs. Version 21. Maybe somewhere you will find that. Here you see. So the latest version is 52. And you can look at all the versions here. But you may need to use the current version of the API. So I am using the API as of now. So this one, 50. Security. So there are three types of security policies there. One is the Salesforce username password. You need to enter simple username and then password. You can use the authorization code credentials. So this client ID, client secret, and then scope that will be provided by the Salesforce. You can use the resource owner password credentials like client ID, client secret, username, and then password. In most of the cases, we generally use the Salesforce username password policy. Here, I am entering the Salesforce account and then Salesforce password. Click on a test. When you click on a test button, the connection will be tested and the connection will be created. But here you see I am getting failed to authenticate against techsupport@techsupport.com. Hello. Yeah. So if your password is correct and you click on a test button, even you can get this error. Login must use security token, which means when you enter the password, only the enter will not suffice the purpose. You need to enter the security token of the Salesforce as well. So the password will be the combination of the Salesforce password plus you have to append the security token of the Salesforce. So how you will get the security token, I will let you know. Go to this Salesforce instance and from here, go to the settings. When you move to the settings tab, you will see reset my security token. Once you click on this reset my security token and you click on reset security token, what will happen? The Salesforce will send you an email of this logged in user with the security token. I will show you that one. Okay. So this is my registered email address. I am not doing that because I already have the security token. So here you see such type of security token will come on your email. So you need to copy that security token and then append with the password here. So first you need to enter the password and then security token. Just click on the save button and then again try to test it. If everything is okay, the connection must be tested successfully. Let's wait. Here you see our connection has been tested successfully. Now click on a save button. Now our connection is configured. Go back and now we can use the Salesforce connection. Now I wanted to show you one of the use case here, how to capture the events from the Salesforce system. Let me click on a create button and I need to capture the events. So I will use the app driven and then select. Here I'll say get opportunity data and click on the create button. When you do this, you will be landed onto this designer page and you need to select your Salesforce connection. When you do this here, you need to enter the endpoint. Let's say grab op and next. On the next screen, it says select the outbound messaging visitor. So each and every object in the Salesforce will provide you the, no, sorry. So in order to get the outbound message visitor is nothing. It is a visitor file which will be provided by the Salesforce system. Let's suppose I will show you there are different objects in the Salesforce. Okay, if you go here, view all, you go to the sales. Okay, I am taking the sales one. In the sales one, we have a different modules called opportunity, leads, tasks, accounts, contacts, campaign, reports, and different stuff. So these are the module in your, these are your actually the objects. Opportunities is one of the object, leads is one of the object, accounts is one of the object. Let's suppose you want to kick off your integration as soon as any opportunity gets created in the Salesforce. In order to capture the events in the OIC, first you have to create one workflow rule in the Salesforce. This is not your responsibility. This is the responsibility of the Salesforce team, and they must be knowing how to create the workflow rule. Once your workflow rule will be created, then you need to generate one outbound message. Outbound message is nothing. It is the action of the workflow rule. I will show you. Now, first, let's go ahead and then try to create one workflow rule. Workflow rule is just like a trigger you create in your databases. Similarly, we can create the workflow rule here. Just click on the setup. And from this quick find, let's search workflow rules. So here, workflow rule you can create on any one of the object. Like you create triggers on the table. Similarly, you create the workflow rules on a objects. So here, click on a new rule. When you click on a new rule, you have to select the object on which you want to create that workflow rule. So here I am selecting the opportunity one. Okay. And next, you can give any work rule name, let's say of B11. And then evaluation criteria when you want to fire your workflow rule only on the creation, or creation and every time it's edited means updated, or created and anytime it's updated with this particular criteria. So you can choose the criteria also. So here there's a field called stage. I want to create a workflow rule and wanted to meet this route in order to fire that rule. So here I will say equals and stage is called prospecting. Insert selected. If my stage is prospecting, then only I want to fire that custom rule. And then save and next. Now your workflow rule is ready. But what action you want to perform when this workflow rule will be created? So similarly, when you create a trigger you can write like when a column gets updated. This is your trigger. But after that, what action you want to perform? Like I want to insert a new record in a table, or I want to send a notification to a particular user, might be. Similarly, when your workflow rules are generated, you need to define a workflow action. And there are different workflow action like new task, new email alert, new email edit, and one is the new outbound message. New outbound message is just like calling a REST endpoint of any any application. Let's suppose on this workflow rule, you want to call a REST API. So you have to generate a new outbound message. So click on this new outbound message. And here you have to provide the outbound message name. Let's say outbound. The unique name will come automatically. You can provide the description, and here actually you need to provide the endpoint URL. It can be a WSDL URL, it can be a REST URL. Okay, so here basically it will be the WSDL URL. As of now, you can provide a dummy URL, let's say google.com. Later, I will replace this endpoint URL with my actual integration URL. And then in that outbound message, what all fields you wanted to send. So I will select all and then add. So when this outbound message will be kicked off, it will send all these fields in the SOAP UI. So this outbound message will generate one SOAP wisdom. Click on a save and new. Sorry, save. Cancel. Now my workflow rule is ready and my outbound message is ready. So click on this outbound message and here you will see click for whistle. So click on this. When you do this, you will be landed here and this is your outbound whistle. That is called your outbound whistle. So you need to use this whistle at this step. Now let's save this. Download and let me say the extension will be .vista. Now my WSDL file is downloaded. So let me just select the WSDL here. Right now, whatever WSDL we have generated, we have uploaded it here. So this is nothing. It is the SOAP API, you can say. Next, and here, if you want to send a response in the callback, you can select this option and then you can configure. You can select any one of the object and configure the callback. Similarly, you can configure the failure callback too. I'm not configuring this as of now. Next, and then finish. Now here you see my outbound. This has been selected. This has been created successfully. Now let's enable the tracking parameter. And here you can see this is called notification. So one notification will come in your integration cloud. That is called notification. So here I am saying ID. Save. Save this and close this. Now my integration is ready. And let's try to activate this integration. When you will activate such kind of integration wherein you have used the Salesforce adapter at the trigger point, it will generate one WSDL URL. Here you see. So this is the WSDL URL. So this is the endpoint where Salesforce will send the request when a new opportunity will be created. So you need to take this URL till 1.0. You don't need to select the last /2. Okay, so which means you need to take this one. So here till last /. Copy this and then go to your outbound message, and instead of having this google.com, click on a edit and then change this endpoint URL and then save. Now what will happen on the during runtime when you will create a new opportunity or you will update it having the stage prospecting, the workflow rule which you have defined will be triggered, and when this workflow will be triggered, this WSDL will be called, and this WSDL is of what? OIC. and in that WSDL, all these fields will be sent. So let's try to, after this, you have to activate your workflow rule as well. So this one, opportunity B1. So by default, it will be inactive. So you have to click on activate in order to activate it. Let me just deactivate the previous one. Yeah. So here you see op B11 is activated now. If you see deactivate here, which means it is activated. Now let's try to create a new opportunity. So go here, go to the sales and try to create a new opportunity. Okay. I am saying opportunity, sorry, opportunity. You can select the account here. Let's say this one. You can select the type, lead source, whatever you want to select. You can say amount 100. You can say the close date is 28. Stage. So in order to fire that workflow rule, make sure the stage is prospecting. If the stage is not prospecting, then your workflow rule will not be fired. Click on a save. Now my opportunity has been created successfully. Go here, go to the monitoring, tracking, and then integration. Here you see get opportunity data. You have received one message. If you open it and select the view activity stream, you see message dequeued and processed by trigger grab opportunity. If you see here, you can see amount 100. We gave the 100 amount 100. You will see opportunity batch 11 name. Stage name is a prospecting, and then there will be an account ID actually here. You see account ID. So here, when we created the opportunity, we have selected the account. Account is one of the new, is a separate account. So it will send the account ID, not the account name. So account name, you can query this from the Salesforce adapter. And you see the amount, the close date as well. Now, so how I have created this opportunity. Now I want to deactivate this integration, and then I will open just hold on please. Let me just log in into the ATP database and will create a table so that I can push that opportunity in that table. SQL. So now I am going to create a new table here, and let's say opportunity table. Okay, let me create few columns here. Let's say of ID. I will make this as a PK string varchar. Let's say amount. It can be a number, and then same opportunity name. Let's say it's 100 or 50. Let's say stage. Let's say account name. Okay, what else? You can put one more thing, close date. Fine. opportunity ID, amount, opportunity name, stage, account name, and then close date. Fine, close. Now here you see my op table has been created. Now let's try to push that opportunity in my table. So here, okay. So I told you also, right, when you will get this opportunity, instead of getting the account name, you will get the account ID. So first of all, I will use the Salesforce adapter to get the account name. So I need to invoke the Salesforce again. So I will use the Salesforce connection here. I will say get account name and then next. On the next screen, you will see different operations like you can query. If you can click on a query and next, here you can write the SOQL query, which is called Salesforce Object Query Language. You can write a query like select ID name from account and where ID equals to, and if you need to create a bind parameter here, so you need to use the ampersand actually, and let's say account ID and then refresh. So bind parameter will be created here. You can put any valid account ID and click on test my query. If you have the valid one, it will show you the records. Here you can see the name is test. You can try with different as well. No record found, okay, which means we don't have, this is not the valid one. Here you go. We have another account called Oracle United States. Okay, so this is one of the operation. You can do this back. You can create, update, or delete information. If you select this operation, you have the operation like create, update, upsert, or delete like we do in the ATP. Similarly, you can select any one of the object like table and perform the create operation. You can do the update on an object. You can do the upsert as well as the delete. You can perform bulk data operations like you can do create, delete, final batch. There are different operations in bulk which you can do. And perform core utility operation, which I was trying to tell you, like there are some standard functions like convert lead, get deleted, get updated. All these things you can do. And this is one of the important like invoke Apex web services. So if you want to call any Apex web services, then you can choose the WSDL file here. Configuration of Apex X is only available for all security policy. Okay, so here you see you can consume Apex method as a SOAP as well as the rest. SOAP will come if you have used the basic username password security policy in the adapter. But if you use the OAuth, you can invoke the REST APIs also. Okay, so I want to use the query information next, and here I will again copy this, refresh, next, and then finish. And here I need to bind the account ID. Account ID will come from my notification, opportunity, sequence, and here you see the account ID. The query parameter, you can map this account ID. Right? Now I need to send this data into my ATP database. Push pop. And here I will say perform an operation on a table, and I will use insert or update. Next. And here I will select admin and search. I will select op table, import tables. Next, and then finish. Save. Now, this is the mapper where you need to actually map this. So opportunity ID. So it will, the opportunity ID will be this one. So this will be the opportunity ID. And then in the sequence, you will see the amount to amount. And then you will have this name. Name is the opportunity name. And then stage. There will be a close date too. And this account name will come from different. Tell me which one should I expand to map the account name? Who can help me here?
Response. Get account name response.
Huh?
Get account name response. Salesforce. This one.
Yes, correct. Because here I have created the query. So sometimes student ask the question how to map the data from two different sources. So this is how you can do this. So this is my second source, account. Validate and then close. Integration is ready. Close. Let's try to activate this integration now. Okay. Now go to your Salesforce again. Let's try to, so I am going to, so these are the stages: prospecting, qualification, need analysis, value proposition. So I am going to the qualification and marking this stage as a mark as current stage. So the opportunity will be updated and the stage will become qualification. Now I have updated the opportunity and the stage becomes qualification. But if you go here, you will not see this this message here. Why?
Because we select the workflow rule there only for the prospect.
Correct. So now again, I will go to this prospecting stage and then mark as current stage, right? Stage change successfully. Now I should get the message here. You see two messages, both are succeeded. And here, let's try to select the you see opportunity ID, amount, opportunity name, stage is prospecting, account name, and then close date. So here, if you see, I have selected the account name as a account name is Oracle United States. So let me just update this. So let me see amount. Let me say it's 200 now, and then save. So now this time also I should have one hit here. Huh? Maybe something wrong. Yes. Oh, sorry. Prospecting. Succeeded, and the same table should be updated only, right? Same call, same row, and here you see the amount is 200. And you see this is the 18-digit ID of the Salesforce actually. So every object has unique ID, and these IDs are the 18-digit IDs actually. Is this clear to everyone? Any question, any doubt?
Hi, Ankur. Rupak here. I have a question. So here in the OIC, do we have any error handling mechanism? Suppose we are just talking about the free flow of the wherever it's, I mean, it is the each and every activity is getting succeeded, and so it's going to the end of the end of the integration. But if there is any error in between,
I will show you. I will show you this exception handling part next week.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Okay, it's there for sure. Okay. Any other question? Anyone?
Ankur, like suppose like if any custom objects has been created in the Salesforce, then we will get the details from the Salesforce team, right?
Yes, yes. Absolutely, yes. And this Salesforce adapter can also be used to call any custom objects as well.
Okay.
Now,
Ankur, one question, Tejashwar here. Most of the time, as you showed, we will be requesting the WSDL file only from Salesforce team, right? The REST API which you are showing, though they are SOAP and REST.
so yes,
In real-time scenario, that will be the thing.
yes,
Because
absolutely.
though, yeah, as you are aware of the Salesforce, so you basically walked us through the Salesforce, how the navigation with respect to account opportunity.
Yes,
But
yes.
guy who is working on EBS or on the Oracle Cloud OIC side, he will just request, and the mapping which you showed exactly like 6 fields where you map, that would be the more important, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And the other details, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'm not the Salesforce guy even, but I need to do some kind of POC, so I need to learn little bit of the application, and I know the navigation as well. And I have searched on the Google and then found all these navigations actually. But absolutely, this is not your duty to create all these workflow rules in the Salesforce, and even you will not have the permission to create them. Right?
But real scenario, as you showed, app driven only the pattern, but most of the time it will be scheduled only. I mean, so and so time the respective file from the Salesforce will come to here, and automatically, if it is an inbound, it will be getting created in the SaaS application using OIC.
Correct. But in most of the cases, since we have the good option to grab the opportunity or any one of the object directly as soon as it's created or updated. So this integration makes the real-time integration actually. As soon as a new opportunity gets created, you will get that and will send it to your target application. But yes, if you want to build a schedule integration, you can build the schedule integration here, and here you see I have used the Salesforce connector to invoke the SQL as well. So here, if you create a schedule integration, so what you can do, let's suppose you want to get all the opportunity, Salesforce schedule, okay. So what you can do, you can simply search your Salesforce adapter here and let's say get opportunities. So what you can do, you can simply say create, update or delete information. Next. So you have to use the query information, select, and let's say query, you can say select ID, name, stage from opportunity. Refresh. Fine. Next. A field name stage is not defined, but it is there, but that's fine. Maybe something wrong. Right. And here you see in the query, you will get only 200 messages at a time. But here you have an option use default header. Next. And here you can select to update. Yeah, here you can change the batch size. By default, it will send you only 200 records and maximum you can get 1000. Next, and then finish. Save it. Tracking. If you want to send any request parameter, you can do that too. Close. Right. Let's try to submit now. Succeeded. You can view the data here now. Message sent and message received. You can see the opportunity name, ID, then second opportunity name, and you can get all these. And you can see your B11 as well. But here it will be somewhere. Do you see, guys? And here you see you have total 94 records. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is all about the Salesforce adapter. You can do more operations as well, but these are the two most these are the two widely used in most of the integrations. Now let's proceed further, and now I want to explain this publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. So these are two important patterns in the integration. Publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. So you cannot create subscribe to OIC pattern till the time you have at least one integration basis on this pattern. And there is no use of publish to OIC pattern till the time you have at least one subscribe to OIC process. So you should use both the pattern in the combination. So at least one P publish to OIC pattern must be there before you use this. So where these two patterns are very, very useful and when to use that. So let's take this example, the Salesforce only. You are using this CRM application in your organization to grab all the new opportunities, to convert that opportunity into the leads. You need to maintain your contacts. You need to create a different accounts and then campaigns and other stuff. So this is your source of truth of all your opportunities of your organization. There might be another system in your organization which need these opportunity data. It might be a project management system. It might be your Oracle Sales Cloud as well, or finance system. Okay. So let's suppose you have two system, project management, wherein you want to track the new opportunities, what is happening. And in the finance system, you wanted to have the billings of the customer. So if any new opportunity will come, it can convert it into the leads. And if it is converted into the leads, obviously there will be a finance system involved. So you may need the opportunity data into your finance system. So you need that data into two systems at the same time and the same data. Might be different set of data, but yes, you need the opportunity data into both the systems. So there are two options to it. Either you create two integration, publish to two integration basis on the app driven. If you create single app driven orchestration, then you have to create two different workflow rules and two outbound messages, and there will be two point-to-point integration. Okay, and it will increase the maintainability. But instead of this app driven, you can use publish to IC and subscribe to IC. So what publish to IC will do? So when you create this publish to IC, right? So what will happen? You have an option to connect to any one of the source system. Like you can connect to the Salesforce system, you can connect to the ERP system, you can create a REST API, you can create the SOAP API at the trigger point to get the data. And once your integration will be kicked off, the message will be sent into the OIC messaging queues. So OIC messaging queues will be created. So these two patterns basically work on the messaging concept. Maybe you have heard the WebLogic JMS queue, Java Messaging Service. And these concepts are widely used in the telecom system where they have a lot of data. Okay. So you can publish the message into the OIC messaging queues. And then let's suppose you have two systems to grab the same data. So you can create two subscriber process, connect to the same process, and then connect to your target system in this process and then send the data there. So publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC are mostly useful when you want to send the same set of data to a different application at the same time. Similarly, you may have the HRMS system as the employee source of data. And this employees data you want to send into a different downstream application. So you can use these two patterns to get the data from the HRMS system and send it to the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 downstream applications. Make sense? I hope I have explained it better. So now I have one use case here wherein I want to send the opportunity data into two different systems. One as at the FTP and second in my ATP database. So let's see how we can do this. Create this publish to, let's select and then create get opportunities publisher process. Let me just create a package here. Let me see com.v11.pubsub. So here I have created an integration get of publisher and kept the same in a package which is called com.v11.pubsub. When you create publish to OIC, so right hand side you will see IC messaging service. So this is your message queue. You cannot update it, you cannot delete it. Earlier this was not applicable, but yes, let's say. Okay. Let me just, okay, fine. Maybe in this you can delete it, but this was not possible in the earlier cases. So you can delete it, and then if you want to have it later, you can have it later using this technology. Now on the trigger point, you need to define your trigger connection. So what will be my trigger connection? It will be the Salesforce. You can search it from here. This one. Similarly, get opportunity next and choose the same WSDL file. Next, and then done. Now you don't have a mapper here. Whatever data will come from the Salesforce, it will be sent as it is into your IC messaging service. Whether it's sending a JSON or the XML, it will go here. So the same structure will be sent to your IC messaging service. Now you can enable the tracking here. Let's say ID. Now my publisher process is completed. You can activate this. Secondly, I want to create a new integration basis on the subscribe to OIC, and I will create the file and will send all these opportunity to my file system. Select, and here I will say FTP subscriber. Okay, and I will make this integration in the package. And when you create subscribe to OIC, it will ask you to select the publisher process. Select publisher and then use it. Left hand side, you will see left hand side, you will see the IC messaging service has been selected automatically when you create this subscribe to OIC pattern. Now here you need to define your invoke integrations, means invoke connections. So my invoke connection will be like FTP adapter. So I want to create a file on my FTP connection. Let's say create file. I want to create a structured file. Yes. I wanted to create a CSV file. Absolutely yes. Next. And then it will be in the folder, and I will say op.csv and then append to existing file. Next. And here I need to create as one sample file. So let me just create it. Okay, I'm saying op name, stage, amount, and then close date. I wanted to have only 4 fields here. I will save this file. Let's go here and then select this file. Okay, so here you see, and I am saying op and then offset. Correct. Next, and then finish. Now in the mapper, I need to map the data. Sequence, and here I want this amount. I want this close date. I want this name and then stage. Validate. And close. Now here you see my integration is completed. Now here you see we don't need to enable the tracking. So what will happen? The tracking will be copied automatically from your subscriber process. But if you want to update it, you can delete it and you can have another opportunity, another tracking field. And you can see in the notification, you will have the same structure, because whatever structure is coming from the Salesforce, we have published into the queue. So it is coming as it is. Okay. When you use this subscribe to OIC pattern, you will notice here, apart from connection and this technology, you don't have any action. Like if you want to do for each, you cannot do this. If you want to perform switch action, you cannot do this. If you want to perform any exception handling, you cannot do this, because we don't have a action here. So this is very plain, very simple pattern, like just get the data and send as it is without any massaging. So in this ATP database. So I wanted to create one more subscriber process, which I want to connect to my ATP. And here you have seen, I have this account field. So this account field will come from the Salesforce, but for that I have to make another call, which is not possible directly in this pattern. So for this, what I'm going to do, let's say activate. So my first process has been activated. So what I want, so I want to call app driven. I want to create a one app driven orchestration. Select it and let's say ATP Salesforce orchestration process. And here package will remain the same, this one. And then here I will create this integration based on the REST. So I will choose the REST here. Or I can drop it from here. And we'll say get opportunity. Next, here I will say slash opportunity. I'm creating a simple post here. And I will say configure a request payload JSON inline. I need few fields here. Let's say op ID, op name, op stage, account ID, and then close date. Fine. Next, and then done. In this integration, I will call my Salesforce adapter. And here I'll say get account name. Next, query information. Next, and I will say select ID name from account ID. Refresh. Next. Okay. Their ID. Done. And then I will map this validate. Now here what I need to do, I need to call my ATP. Insert. I will use perform an operation on a table and then insert or update. Admin. Here map the data. So something opportunity ID, opportunity name, opportunity stage, close date, and then account name will come from here. Okay, validate. Now this REST API is completed. Close. Let's activate this integration. Now I can call this REST API from my subscriber process via the REST adapter. So I have to create one REST connection using this. So this is the REST API now, which I can call internally. So I am going to create one REST adapter here using that endpoint. Opportunity REST. Okay. And it will be on an invoke only. Create. Connection type will be the REST API and connection URL will be this one. And here I have to choose the basic authentication. So let me just copy. Okay. So this is the username and then password here. Test. Okay, so you might see this, the username password are not validated as part of this test. So when you create a REST connection and you enter the username and then password, so these username and then password will not be validated. If you even enter the wrong one, this will bypass it. So these username and password will be tested during the runtime only. Same. Now I am going to create another subscribe to OIC pattern. And here I will say ATP subscriber. And then I will select my same package here. Opportunity publisher use. Now tell me which connection I should drop it here in order to call my API. Guys, am I
Recently
audible?
created REST API.
Huh?
The recently created REST one, which we created.
Correct. So that is called op REST. And say and opportunity. And then I have to use the same one actually, this one. And this is the post type. Configure a request payload for this endpoint. Next, JSON, and I will choose the same JSON. Inline, and then OK. Next. Guys, allow me a minute, please. I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Now, this is the mapper. Click on a plus button, request wrapper, and notification, opportunity ID, account ID, close date, name, and then stage. Validate, close. save, and then close. Now my all 4 integrations are completed. Correct. Now, since I need the message on this publisher process, so I need to take the WSDL of this and then configure it into my, where it is. I will take till last slash copy, go here and then go to setup, search your outbound message, workflow action, and then outbound messages. And then you need to update your outbound message, which is this one, and then replace this so that the message can reach to this endpoint. Save. Fine. Let's create a new opportunity. Let's say it's $250. Let's say pub sub op. Account is Google India. Stage is prospecting. Close date is this one. Now, how many messages I should receive on the integration now? How many integrations should be kicked off?
2 messages.
Huh?
2 messages.
2 messages. I am saying how many integrations will be kicked off now.
Okay. 4. 1, 2, 3.
Here you see, get publisher process, ATP subscriber, orchestration, and then subscriber. So all 4 processes are succeeded. Now let me just go to the ATP first and let me just try to hit this table. Here, okay, amount I have not mapped, I guess, but fine. Here you see opportunity, opportunity name, stage, account name, and then close date. Now let me just open the WinSCP and will show you. Guys, allow me a minute. Let's stop. Yeah. I'm just opening my server. Okay, then V11. Are you able to see the WinSCP, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
So here you see the op.csv file. Let me just open that file and then here you see pub sub opportunity, prospecting, then amount, and then close date. Now go here on your OIC screen. Now I have received 4 messages. Why amount has not been published? Okay, I have not actually done that mapping in this process. Oh, I guess amount I have not created in this request. Fine, no problem. But guys, you understand the flow? And one more thing. So in the whole process, So this publisher process is publishing the data into the messaging queue. And while during the new message, if there are two subscriber process, both will get the data. But if any one of the subscriber is down, either this one or this one, and if new message comes in, the message will be sent only to the activated subscriber. The deactivated subscriber will lose the message. So, which means the messaging queue is not the persistent one. It's just a fire and forget. It's just like our data is going in the messaging queue. If two subscribers are activated at the same time, only both will be fired. Otherwise, the activated one will be fired. But yes, let's suppose this FTP subscriber, okay, this FTP subscriber was up, but somehow your FTP was not reachable. Then you have the mechanism to reprocess the message, which I will show you later. But yes, these are the persistent queues. Guys, make sense? Any question, anyone on this? Yes or no?
It was little complicated, Ankur. But a little.
I have one question. Basically, you mentioned initially that publish and subscribe both needs to be defined, but where yes, only subscribe for FTP to write the file and push into the database the opportunity data which you showed. So we have built the ATP subscribe.
Correct.
So where is publish subscribe only?
Publisher process will be single, right? That's the idea behind this publisher subscriber. I am getting data only once from the Salesforce and publishing that into the messaging queue. And then there will be a responsibility of the subscriber process that will be fired automatically, this one and this one, because both are connected to the same queue. And in that ATV subscriber, I am calling this process. You got my point?
Yes.
Ankur, can you explain once again?
Which one? Okay.
Means just basic flow once again, please.
So what I have done is here. So let me just open this thing, PowerPoint. Okay. Do you see the PowerPoint, guys? Do you see the PowerPoint now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here, what I'm saying, I have one source application here. Okay. That is your Salesforce. And then you have two different applications. One is your FTP and second is your database. Okay. So you want to send the opportunity data into the FTP server as well as the database. Quite possible use case, guys, at the same time. So here, what I have done is, I have simply leveraging the OIC here. So this is my OIC. So in the OIC, what I have done, I have simply created one process here, which is called your publisher process. Okay, what it will do, this process will be connected to this system. Okay, so whenever a new opportunity will come, this will be fired into my publisher process. Fine. And this publisher process will send the data into one centralized queue. Let's say this queue. So this is your queue. I can say this is a queue. This is your queue. So whenever a new message will come, the publisher process will insert the data into the queue. So this is your subscriber process. So now what I have done, I have created a new OIC process here, which is called your FTP subscriber. Okay. And this FTP subscriber is connected to this queue like this. And this subscriber process is sending the data into your my bad. Right now, in order to send the to the DB, before I am calling the FTP, before I am calling the target system, I also need to get the data from the SFDC system. So for that, I have created one process here, one small process, which is my REST process, which is connecting to this system. This database. Okay. And then here I have this process, which is called my ATP subscriber. And this ATP subscriber is also connected with this. Okay. And this ATP subscriber is connected to this system. So what will happen when a new opportunity will be sent into my SFDC or created, it will call my publisher process via the endpoint, which I have configured in the outbound message. And this publisher will send into the queue. When the data will come, I have two subscribers. One is the FTP and the second is ATP. Both the subscriber will be fired. So this FTP subscriber directly create a file in the FTP. And this ATP subscriber will call my REST process wherein I am calling the SFDC, getting the account name, and then consolidating the data and sending to the database system. I hope it's clear to everyone.
Yeah, Ankur, like if you don't want the account name, there is no need of this REST process, right?
Yes, then we don't need it. Like that. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Here, any question, any doubt? Okay. Then let's proceed further. So I have saved this PPT actually, right? Then you will get it into the PPT only. next thing, I wanted to show you the library one. So as you know, in the integration, you don't have any provision to call any custom coding. You cannot create a Java and then call it from the integration. But integration allows you to create libraries, and the libraries can call your JavaScript functions. And you can use those libraries in your integrations to do some custom transformation, which is not possible in the integration. For example, let's suppose you have one source system, and in that source system, you are getting the JSON message. In that JSON message, you are getting one string, and that string is itself a JSON, might be a long JSON, or it has a string which is separated by a different delimiter like $, comma, and ampersand. And every delimiter has its own meaning. You need to convert, you need to parse this string and then get the meaningful data from it, which might not be possible in the integration, for example. So what you can do, you can create a JavaScript function which will take the input, convert that input into a required string or required JSON, and pass this JSON to your integration as the output of JavaScript, and then use it. Another use case might be you want to convert the date and time format from one format to another, which might not be possible in the OIC. So you can create a JavaScript function and then call it from the integration. So for this, I have simply created one JavaScript function, which I am going to show you here. So I have simply created one function called sum, wherein I am taking two arguments, number 1 and number 2, and then returning the sum of these two values. So I will show you how to call this sum function from the integration. So let's go back here. And here you have a concept called libraries. So you have to register the libraries here. So click on a create button, and you have to either select the .js file or the .jar. .jar is nothing, is the combination of a different JavaScript file. So I will choose the JavaScript function here and then open, means the JavaScript file. You can give any library name here, let's say some library identifier, and then create. When your library will be created, it will populate all the functions which are there in your JavaScript file. Click on the function name, and here it will show you the input and then output. Click on this input. Looks like something wrong with this JavaScript function. Just allow me a minute. The function defines contain. Okay, got it. So this will not work like this. So first you have to create like here some number sum, and then where number sum, and here and then return. Save. Go here. Now let's suppose you want to update this library. You have an option to update it, and then select the new function here. Update. This time you will not see this warning. Select this input, and here you see both the input parameter, and you can change the data type and then output data type too. Save. Now your function has been saved successfully. And this is configured now. Now let's try to use this in the integration. So I'm going to create an app-driven orchestration here, and let's say library. Oh, what happened? Okay. Now I will use the REST adapter here. Okay. Calling. Next, I will create some and will create two query parameters. Configure this endpoint to receive the response. Next, and two query parameters here. Let's say num1. It will be a integer type. Let's say 2. That will be again an integer type. Next, show you how to get the XML data actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to create a sample XML here. Okay, and I will say some of num. So I'm creating a sample file here because I need to give it. I need to upload it. Okay, save it. Let's say sample XML. Okay, go back here and then upload this XML here. Schema parser encountered an error. What happened to this? It should be correct. What happened? 85 XML online. Let me just take this one. Oh, sorry. I need to have this XML actually. That was the problem. Right? Next. And finish. Horizontal, and now I need to call the JavaScript library. So we have one action here called JavaScript. So drag and drop here, let's say JS and create. So it will give you, it will allow you to select the function, click on this function, and this is the library. And so this is the sum function, select, right? So here you need to define number 1, number 2, you need to map it. You will map in this number 1 and then number 2 here. fine. And then in the output, you need to define the output of this JS. You see under $JS, output of it. And okay, sum of number, and then provide this to this. Validate, close, and then enable the tracking parameter here, number 1. Let's try to activate this now. Okay, now integration is activated. Let's try to test it. Here, number 1, number 2, let's say 10, let's say 5. And the output should come in the XML. Here you see XML output 15. 60. This is how you can call your JavaScript functions inside the integration, and you can get the output in the XML also. Any question on this, please? Anyone? Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, Ankur.
So let me see, do we have one instance or no? Okay, we have. Since we have 20 minutes more, so I wanted to show you one more thing, how to migrate your code from one instance to another, which is very, very important. So let's see. So here, let's suppose you have this dev instance, you have another instance like the test instance. Let's open the service console. Now, let's suppose this is your test instance, and here you have done the development, and here you want to perform the testing. So now you want to migrate your code. So how you will migrate the code? So in order to migrate the code, you can simply export the integration and then import into your target system. How to export actually? When you, let's suppose I want to migrate this code. So what you can do, you can simply go here and then click on an export. When you export it, it will export one file, and the extension of this file will be .iar, and the name will be get underscore opportunity underscore data, which is the identifier of the integration underscore version 100.000 and .iar file. IAR is the integration archive. So you want to, you have exported it and now you want to import it. So when you will import it on your target instance, so what will happen? So in this integration, what I'm using, I am using two connections. One is the Salesforce and the second is ATP connections. So these two connections will be the part of this integration archive. So when you will import this integration onto your target instance, hello? Looks like there's a confusion in the internet. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was explaining this import export. So when you will import this integration, in this integration, whatever artifacts you are using, whether it is a connection, whether it is a JavaScript, whether it is your lookup. So these artifacts will be the part of your integration. And when you will import this integration, it will be imported onto your target instance too. So you don't need to manually create the connection when you import it. You don't need to create the lookups if you are using the lookup here. It will be imported automatically along with all the values which are there in the lookup. Plus, if you have a JavaScript, JavaScript will also be imported. But if you are using any connectivity agent will not be imported. Only the agent group will be created, and then you have to install the connectivity agent and point out to the particular agent group by defining the destination URL in your configuration file. So let's see how to import it. So go here and click on an import button. When you click on an import button, it will allow you to choose the existing IAR file. So choose file, and then let me just upload this IAR file. So when you try to import this option, you have two options here. One is import, second is import and configure. When you simply click on an import button, your integration will be imported into your target instance, and all the connections, all the lookups, all the libraries will also be imported. But in the connections, the credentials, here you are using the credentials in the ATP as well as in the Salesforce. The credentials will not be imported. You have to open both the connections manually and then provide the credentials there. So click on this import now. Here you see your integration has been imported. Go to the connections. Salesforce connection has been created. ATP connections has been created here. Open your Salesforce connection, and here you see only the information which are not secured, which are not critical, will only be imported. But username and then password has not been imported. So you have to enter the username password manually in order to configure this connection successfully. So let's do this. Okay, and let me just enter the password here too. Fine. Save. My connection is configured now, and similarly, sorry, Salesforce I have done. Similarly, you have to upload the wallet password, database service name, database service password. So you have to configure it also. Till the time your connections are activated, you cannot activate your integration. Here you see, because the ATP connection which we have used here, it's not completed. So this is the one way to import it. Now, if you will try to re-import the same integration, open, okay, and click on an import button, then it will ask you import and replace. So the existing connection will be replaced, existing integration. But if you already have the connections with the same name, then the connection will be reused. Now, just delete that integration, okay? And from here, let me just delete the ATP connection. So I have only one connection now with this name. Let's try to import this integration again. And here I will show you this import and configure and how useful it is. If you click on this import and configure, you will be landed onto this configuration editor screen, wherein it will show you the integration name plus how many connections you have used, the connections name, and if you have used lookups or the libraries, it will be visible here. Now here you have an option to replace your connections with the existing connection which you have in this instance. So here you see Salesforce connection I already had. So this has been configured successfully automatically. But if you have another connection of the Salesforce with a different name and you want to point that connection with this integration, you can click on the replace. It will show you all the Salesforce connections. As of now, I don't have it, and then you can replace it. Similarly, for the ATP2, if you already have one ATP connection, it will allow you to replace the connection. So you can do that. If you don't have it, then fine. Save, go back, and then connection. Here you see ATP connection has been created now, and then you can provide the details here and then do your configuration here. Rest. Save. Right, your connection is tested and you are good to activate your integration. So this is how you can migrate your integrations from one instance to another. Okay. One more thing. So here you have seen we have created 4 integrations. One as a ATP subscriber, ATP Salesforce connection, FTP subscriber, and then get opportunity publisher. So all these 4 integrations are part of the packages, one package, and you want to migrate all the integration right at once. So instead of exporting integration one by one, you go to the packages, and then here you see I have this package which is having the 4 integration. You can export the whole package. The package file extension will be .par. Now you can go to the packages and then import the whole package here. So whatever integrations are there in the par file will be imported, and whatever connections are being used in the integration will be created by clicking on this import button. If you click on an import configure, then also it will list all the integrations. Here you see 4 integrations, and then I have how many connections? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I am using 5 connections in all the integrations. So here you see sample REST endpoint interface. This is configured, which means I already had this connection with the same name. So it has been configured. Salesforce connection. Salesforce connection, I already had it. So it has been configured to ATP connection. I already have it. It has been configured. Op REST, I don't have. So you can replace with any one of other one. So existing REST API, but make sure you are using this URL there. If you want to choose it, you can do that. And FTP connection, I already have it. So it has also been configured. Save. Go back. And now you see the integration. You can see all the integrations. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you go to the connections here, you can see all the connection. But yes, op REST connection will also be created. This is not being used anywhere. So you can simply go ahead and then delete it. This is how you migrate your code from one instance to another. Any question? Hello? Any question, anyone, please?
Yes, Ankur, as you said, only connectivity agent, we have to explicitly go and configure. Say, as you mentioned here in test instance, only connectivity agent group will be migrated when we are doing import and
So
export.
here you see read from local file. Okay.
Okay.
So where it is read from local file. So here I am using one connectivity agent because here I am using the file connection. So let's see if I have the agent group here. No, I don't have an agent group. So let's try to import. Okay. Export. Let's try to import it. Import configure. Right, FTP connection I already have, so this has been configured. File connection, if I have, you can, yeah, I don't have any file connection, so it will, you have to do this, go back, agents. Oh, agent group has also not been created. Okay. Oh, so maybe you have to create the agent group too. So agent group will also will not be migrated to. So you have to create the agent group and then configure in your adapter.
And along with this, user credential also manually need to configure. Right?
Huh?
The login credentials, basically, security authentication.
The connections will be imported, but the credentials will not be imported.
Okay.
Any question, anyone, please? I hope it is clear to everyone.
Ankur, I have one question not related to here. This is related to the second session, second lesson which you instructed. When we created a OIC instance and when we created a user, the same navigation, I'm not able to see the overview and the dashboard. Can you quickly show that?
Which one?
I mean, when we create an OIC instance, and after that we created another different user, right?
So the user I have
Yes.
created from IDCS actually. You have to create a user from going here and then from here actually, from this console.
Yeah, this thing, this screen was not appearing. So I thought I will ask.
Would you like to share your screen?
Can you quickly, can you go a little bit slowly? I mean?
Okay, no problem. So on the Oracle Cloud, you need to go
Yes.
to this, you need to go to this identity and then federation. Under federation, click on this identity cloud service and then it will click here, which will take you to this IDCS admin console. Click here and then click on an add to create a new user.
Correct. After this, once we create an add user.
After this, once your user is created, you go there and then search your instance. Let's suppose I have this instance, and this instance. So click on this instance, go to this application role, and then you have to provide the application role here. Like let's suppose I want to assign service administrator to a user. Click on this and then assign this.
Sorry to interrupt, Ankur. Actually, by default, once the OIC demo instance which we create, and by default instance which is created, which we are showing now, which comes default, right? Now here, this is the roles which you are explained, basically administrator and service domain. So can you little bit go a little bit slow here?
No, what do you want me to explain here?
Basically, the overview and dashboard, when we come from that hamburger menu, as you were showing previously that, yes, we go from here, yes, console. When we click here, yeah, this was the, again, if we come back, go to the hamburger menu. Okay. Yes, if you click there, come down and we have to go to identity, correct?
It might
Yes,
be both.
users.
Have you created this cloud subscription recently? When you have created your account in the Oracle?
And the second session only I created, the day one.
Okay.
After doing that, I just went back and again I was a
Okay.
little bit struggling for the navigation. So
Now
that's why I asked this.
why you have not asked then in all on the previous classes?
No, I just recapped this one.
No
So
problem.
then I struggled.
Okay.
That's
okay.
why I was asking.
But maybe in that video it was captured, right?
Little bit fast it went actually.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Thanks. It answered my thing.
No problem. Okay, guys, any question? If not, then I will wrap up the session for the day and we will meet next week, same time, Saturday. Okay, guys, then thank you so much. Bye-bye.